Hello, Keith here with Math and Games. Today we're playing PanzerLeader, Scenario 1. I am using the extended march rule and also the opportunity fire rule. The scenario is Utah Beach. The 104th Airborne Division attacks elements of the German 709th Division behind the Utah Beach. The original objectives are the Allied secretly records his objectives before the German player sets up, and there are three sets of objective hexes. There's right here in this town, Murden, there's two of those. You can either hold two of those, or you can hold this crossroads in Nice, or you can hold this bridge into Artane. However, I'm changing things up a little bit. I'm going to make the rule be that the Americans have to capture two out of those three objective hexes. So that makes things a little bit different, a little bit less of a guessing game. So the way I set up the German units on those three areas, those three towns. So over here to the left, and the Germans set up first. So I have a rifle and a security, and I have a howitzer, a 20mm howitzer and a rifle with a truck. In the center, I have the armored car, some engineers, a mortar unit, and a rifle unit that's covering the western approaches. And down south, I have a howitzer unit with a wagon. And up north, I have the rifles. And in the east, I have a rifle unit in the city next to the town, and then on the bridge, next to the bridge, and then on the bridge I have a rifle unit and a howitzer. Now, one thing I like about this game is that in Panzer Blitz, I think the Russians may be a little bit overpowered because their infantry units are companies, whereas German units are platoons. I notice, at least in this scenario, all leg units are platoons. So just a couple of little differences between rules and Panzer Blitz. If you look at the right hand corner of this unit, there's a star behind the range. If a unit has a star behind the range, that means it can fire up to double that range, but at half firepower. Opportunity fire. If a unit moves 1/4 of its movement points within sight of the other side, then you can opportunity fire at that unit. Streams are different. If you want to enter a stream hex, vehicles can't enter stream hexes, and infantry can enter stream hexes, but if they have to roll a 1, 2, or 3 on a 6-sided dice. Quick march. Once every 2 turns, an infantry unit can quick march. That adds 2 movement factors. However, they have to roll a dice, and if they fail the dice roll, they get 4, 5, or 6. They become disrupted. I did opportunity, did that, and I think that's it. There may be some little different. Oh, the German units, German army units, can carry infantry leg units, and they can drop off those leg units before they do an overrun. And that's similar to the experimental rule in Panzer Blitz, which I didn't use. Let's see if there's anything else. Oh, howitzers. Howitzers are half firepower against armor units unless they fire to an armor unit within 6 hexes. And I think with stacking limits, 4 stacking limits for both sides per hex. I'm glad they cleared that up. And also, if you have 2 wrecks on a road, that blocks that road for road movement purposes. And is there anything else? Differences in the rules. And you can have only up to 3 wrecks in a hex. So there's my German setup that I described. Now over here, the Americans are going to try to capture Nice and ECE, and the bridge right before our town. Oh, rifle units. So the Americans have rifle machine gun units. Actually, I haven't placed these machine gun units. Americans have machine gun units. The machine gun units cannot do a close assault unless they're paired with rifle units. I'm actually going to pair these with rifle units right here. 2 and maybe 1 for the one to cover the road. So what I did, actually no, I want them right there. So I'm going to go after the Americans. You see the Americans lined up here. There's an engineer unit. There's a rifle unit. And these 2 hexes are right between the bridge hex and this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to take NECA and the bridge. So I have most of my forces over here. I also have a blocking position. So the units in Murden are going to have a fight to get to reinforce the nest. I have a rifle unit on, 2 rifle units on the road. And in case they do abandon Murden, I have a rifle company and a machine gun company to take over Murden if they decide to abandon it. And I believe that's it. All right, so let's start. And I have the copy of the PanzerLeader rules in front of me. I have 2 copies of the game, actually. And I just want to pull up the order of plays. Turn sequence, combat phase. Okay. Oh, one more rule. In order to do indirect fire, you have to record the turn. Before you do the indirect fire, you have to record the hex that the indirect fire is going into and which units are indirect firing. You can also spot. The spotting units for indirect fire cannot move, be dispersed, or be eliminated for the indirect fire to go through. I'm just getting out the pad so I can record that. I can also use the notes section right here. I might do that instead. Okay. So we have the American combat phase. So I'll write indirect fire attacks for the next turn. Do I want to do an indirect fire? I'll have a mortar unit. Not yet. I'm not going to call any indirect fire yet. Minefield attacks, indirect fire attacks on last turn. And then you have direct fire attacks. I don't have any direct fire attacks yet. Yeah, no direct fire attacks yet. So the air phase, the Allied doesn't have any aircraft in this game. And the movement phase is broken into 2. There's a vehicular movement phase comes first. Then there's the non-vehicular movement phase. And then there's the close assaults. All right, so the movement phase. I don't have any vehicles for the Americans. I do have these guys right here. And they're going to start to move into position to take that town. These guys are going to come down, start moving down the road here. Oh, it's 10-turn game too. See, I have to take that bridge, so I'm going to have to put some units into it. Okay, but how many? And do I send them now? I'm going to start over here. Take my time to the bridge. The mortar position stays. These guys are staying. Okay, so that's it for the American turn. Now we go continuing the turn sequence. Germans call for indirect fire. And indirect fire, you don't have to have a spotted unit. So the mortar, their mortar right here is going to do indirect fire into that hex. This map is good and it's bad. It's bad in the sense that I don't have any hex numbers. Or it's good in the sense that I had the PanzerLeader Panzer Blitz module and the hex numbers were too big. So That's something I could probably program in later. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're looking on DT6. And the unit that's going to be firing is the 81 millimeter mortar in S3. And that's going to be turn 2. The spotter is in T1, 2, 3. Spotter is in T4. Now that's actually kind of risky because there's a chance that the direct fire scatters, but we'll see what happens. All right. Now any movement, that ain't moving. That ain't moving. My engineers ain't moving. So my engineers are going to be there for the counterattack. And that armored car is actually considered a howitzer. Actually, I have another unit that can do indirect fire too. I have to call that in. Oh, I have a bunch of units that can do indirect fire. Okay. And so the unit in T3 is going to do the same thing as 1. And the unit in the SAN range 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, that is in range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The unit in BB6 is also going to be part of that indirect fire. So I'm going to basically flood that hex with indirect fire next turn. I don't know if that's going to do any good, but we'll see. All right, where's my armored car? What do we got over here? Okay. I guess I can move. I'm going to move the armored car in this direction. Yeah, that makes it vulnerable, doesn't it? I'm just going to keep it here. Now, next question is, can you carry units on an armored car? So can you transport units on an armored car? Probably not, but I can take a look. Only C-class vehicular units. So let's look at the charts and see if we can. All right. C-class vehicular units. I don't believe so. All right, so they're not going to be able to carry units. And if I just put an armored car over there, they're vulnerable. They're vulnerable to close assault in a way. So I'm going to leave them there. Right over there, I don't see anything coming from the right. So I'm going to move them down right there. Okay, and I do have a rifle unit on the bridge. These units, I have to leave enough behind to cover this, while at the same time so I'm going to load up that rifle unit. Maybe I should have loaded up the howitzer, but I'm going to load up the rifle unit. There. Because I have to leave enough behind to cover the town. I think I have enough. I mean, I don't need a lot. And you have a rifle and a security unit, and I have a howitzer. So I don't think it's going to be an issue if I pull out the extra rifle unit. All right. I believe that's it for the German movement phase. Now for the German fire phase. We don't have any German fire. No German fire. So now we're going into the next turn. And okay. It's the indirect fire phase. Americans don't have any indirect fire to call in. Well, not yet, not yet. Americans don't have any indirect fire to call in. Well, I could call in fire right there. The mortar attack, it wouldn't do much actually. Still. Now I'm gonna wait. So no indirect fire is coming in for the Americans. Because I didn't call any last time. Just a minute. Just looking at my turn. Indirect fire, any minefield, indirect fire attacks. Now direct fire attacks, don't have any targets yet. Because I can't see any targets. Oh yeah, also one more thing. A unit is spotted if it fires in the sight of a good order enemy unit. Okay, so now movement phase. Right here, I'm going to move the turn track down one. On ally turn 2. Okay, now who else can move? This is where things start to get tricky. All right, I'm going to send that engineer right there, because the engineer, the Americans don't know that I'm about to hit that with indirect fire. So to be fair, I'm going to move them down, and I got 2 units over here, 3. So I can only move 2 units forward. So I get the machine gun and I got the 2 rifles. I'm going to move the 2 rifles forward. 1, 2, and machine gun will go there. All right, I want to put pressure on this side too. If I go down there, yeah, I'm just going to follow the hex row. All right, how about to the left? Well, I do have 1 unit coming up this way. You can do a close 2. See, that'd be a difficult close assault. 1 to 4. 1 to 5, actually. Okay. I'm going to move over here. That makes me a view of this unit right here. This guy. Well, the good thing is once this opens fire, I can start firing back. So, I think that's it for the American movement phase. Okay, so now now it's the close assault phase. I'm gonna have close assault over here. So the defense is 9. The offense is 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's going to be 1 to 1. So it's going to be a 2 to 1 minus 1 because I get engineers there. So a 2 to 1 minus 1. Roll the dice. Roll the 1. So that's a 0. So I eliminate those units. Yes. So I'll place a wreck there. And I gotta get rid of the actual units. Send to destroyed screen. So that was a really good start. Of course, things are going to change a little bit once that indirect fire hits my units, but and that's it. So now we go to the next phase. German calling in indirect fire again. They're going to call it in. Where do I want to call in the indirect fire? I need all my units in range, whatever hex I attack with Germans. I want to attack. I want to attack this hex with indirect fire. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, I'll attack that hex with indirect fire. The hex is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A spotter. My spotter is going to be the engineer unit in T2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Spotter in T4. And the attack is going to be into T5. All right, so the attack's going to be on T5 next turn. Now German movement phase. This truck is going to take off. So it's 1, 2, 6, 10, 11. Okay. Those guys are going to. I want another indirect fire to next turn. Next turn, I want indirect fire right there. So next indirect fire phase, that unit is going to fire indirect fire right there. So that's going to be D1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. D8 is going to fire at C7. C7 on turn 3. Okay. Any more German movement? So no, I want to stay out of there. I also want to have an infantry unit there to close assault. Do I have an infantry unit available? Yes, I do. I have a rifle. So I'm going to move that rifle right there. So I want to close assault that hex. Maybe not next turn because the indirect fire is coming, but soon enough. Don't want to do any movement over here. Oof. No, the Howard's just not moving. Do I want to move the rifle squad? That's a big stack coming. Not yet, and things aren't looking good for this hex right here. I might want to actually, if I can seed that hex, maybe start moving down to this town and have some more support over there maybe. Just concede that bridge, throw my weight in the center. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna concede the bridge, and I'm going to, well, I'm gonna concede the bridge, and I'm gonna defend that town in the center. I'm hoping that what's happening on the left, that there's enough there where I can stop this attack right there. All right. So I think that's it for German turn 2. Now German direct fire. We still don't have German direct fire. 1, 2. So I can fire in them. That'll be a 1-to-1 straight up because that's double the range. Range is 2. So they can fire up to 4, 3 or 4 at half firepower. So it's going to do a 1-to-1 attack there. No modifiers. Roll the dice. That's the dice. 1-to-1. I rolled a 3, so that unit is dispersed. Good, good. Why did I just... It's German fire phase. It's not... Nothing here is dispersed. Yeah, it's the German fire phase. They don't have any close assaults. They don't have any attacks. That unit isn't dispersed yet. So they're good. Alright. Do I have any more German? Possible German. Well, if those guys didn't move, I would have had one right there, actually. But alright, that's it for turn 2. And we're at a half hour, so I'm going to stop this broadcast. I just want to thank everybody, and I want everybody to have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.